So the next step is approaching the candidate for Taaruf. Assalamualaikum and good greetings. So in this video we will continue with the next process in the process of Baitul Muslim. So at this point, after we have covered all of the previous process, meaning that we have already identified the candidate, we have made the initial screening, we know she or he is available for marriage and willing to be considered, and we have decided, yes, I want to approach for Taaruf, which is the next process. Then this process is to approach for Taaruf. So the question is how? Now my suggestion would be based on the very first thing that I have mentioned in the very first video. So I will not repeat that. I will just explain it based on that context. So how? It is basically by sending the approach via a trusted person, a trusted third party. For those who are in the system of tarbiyah, etc., normally you have your murabbi or your nakib or your Baitul Muslim unit, etc. Normally there's a unit that takes care of this or help and facilitate with this. So you can convey your intention to your murabbi, to your nakib, to the shuyukh, etc., and they will actually process so that the approach will reach the candidate on the other side. So why do I suggest to use a third party? Now this is based on some objectives in terms of to ensure the harmony of emotion, psychology, etc., of all parties involved. So we want to avoid putting the one being approached under pressure or responding out of sympathy, etc., 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 right? Which can be the case if you directly go to her and then pose the question and the response. Especially this is in our culture, in Malay culture, in similar culture, there's a tendency to have sympathy, have I do not want to scratch his feeling or hurt his feeling or something, and the answer is not a real answer, and sometimes give false hope or something. So that is just a suggestion, especially when we talk about younger age. For those who are matured enough, normally perhaps that is not really a concern, but at a certain age in this society, that thing is a factor, and sometimes the initial response is just to consider the feeling and not really the actual answer, and it creates more difficulty and mess rather than a clear communication. So just to reiterate, the suggestion is to go through the third parties. It can be if you are in a system, your murabbi, your nakib, if you are within a community where you have a married couple, they can be the facilitator. Yeah, so what is suitable in your scenario? So I have two important notes that I want to convey with regard to this process approaching for Taaruf. Number one, this is actually approach for Taaruf, which is a process to lead to a decision whether we both agree to go to marriage or not. Right, so it is approaching for Taaruf, not approach to do you want to be my boyfriend or girlfriend. It's not approach to just share I have fallen in love with you or my feeling towards you. It's not approach for marriage. It's not do you accept my hand in marriage? No, it is approach towards the process of Taaruf, where we will get to know each other until we have the decision whether we want to proceed for marriage or not, right? So this is approach to that process. It's not approaching will you be my wife or not, and it's not approaching let's become a couple, boyfriend and girlfriend. It's not just merely my feeling is this. And number two, from the very beginning you have to accept that the party that is being approached have the right to say yes or no, right? Just like you, when you do the initial screening, you have, oh, that's a good candidate, let me see, for example, the information, and by screening and you say, oh, okay, this seems like a good candidate, I want to approach for Taaruf. You have the right, after you have got to know the information, the basic information, whether to approach or not. He or she, when being approached, then he or she will get your information. He or she will have a right to say whether, okay, this seems like a good candidate, and I would like to have the ta'aruf with him or her, and then decide, or okay, that's something that doesn't match here, so I have the right to not say yes, or say, unfortunately, I have to refuse for the ta'aruf approach. So from the very beginning of the approach process, you have to accept this fact that he or she have the right to say yes or no. And when he or she says no, thank you, you cannot pressure him or her to give reason why am I not good enough, etc. It's not that kind of a process, right? So from the very beginning, accept that he or she have the right to say yes or no, and whatever he or she decide, that purely their right, and accept it as it is. So if he or she accept the approach and agree to go to the ta'aruf process, obviously the next process is the process of ta'aruf, and that will be discussed in the next video, inshallah. Until then.